they go about and preach. It's not what they teach, and no one seems to care. The whole world lives in fear, just despair everywhere.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna kullu rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, in the name of the Almighty God, in the name of the Creator of the heavens and the earth and our universe, I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the greetings of peace. Peace be unto you, my Christian brothers and sisters, my believing and my unbelieving brothers and sisters. Namaste to my Hindu brothers and sisters. Jah peace and Jah love to my Rastafarian brothers and sisters. And to my Muslim brothers and sisters and all other denominations. I greet you with the greetings of peace in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah continue, may Almighty God continue to bless each and every one of us. And when I say Almighty God, I mean Almighty God, in the God that you believe. Each and every one of us have got our way and our images of whom we perceive as being God. But whoever we perceive of being God, the one thing that we have in common is that we all believe that when it comes down to the darkest point in our lives, and there is no more help from anyone, human, that we can always call a God. And therefore, it's a living God. He is a living God. And I think it is very important for us to understand that when we speak about God, we're not just speaking about a name, we're speaking about ourselves. We're speaking about that what is within us that we can't exist without. For any time God leaves this body, we are dead. We call it the spirit. Well, it's the Spirit of God. And so that God is with us. That is why that God can see and hear and know what we are going to do even before we attempt to do it. And that is why we are told to listen to this God. For at times when we want to do things, there is that inner voice that tells us, don't do it. Stay away from it. You know, that little inner voice is the voice of Almighty God that speaks to us through our hearts and that we try to fight against with our heads. Brothers and sisters, I want to touch on this corona plague. They are calling it the coronavirus, but I'm calling it the corona plague. It is now becoming a global plague. It's becoming a pandemic, which they don't want to admit. It's killing thousands of people. Right now it's in Brazil, it's in Chile, it's in Argentina, it's in Venezuela, it's in Mexico. That's all around us, and people are dying. So it's a very serious situation, and it came out of China. We have quite a lot of Chinese in this country. And we, from our community here, we are requesting that a very rapid and intensive search must be done. And in order to find out the depth of the infection in Guyana. Because we do things like MASH, and as far as we've heard, that's where, those are places where you find the plague. You know, you touch somebody, you hold somebody, you dance with somebody. That's the kind of thing that they're telling us. So if that is the case, and it's already hitting South America, It's already hit Jamaica, Trinidad, so we are open to it. And all I am saying is that it's not anything to play with. It has flu-like symptoms. You feel like you're getting the flu, but it's not the flu. And all of a sudden, it takes over your immune system, and there's nothing more that can be done. It's a plague that they're calling a virus. And then I've heard the rumor now that it's coming from animals. You see? I mean, the Chinese have a delicacy that they do that comprises of a variety of different animals. So it could be true what they're saying, but that's the rumor that's coming out of China. So I'm just saying to you that it's again something that was man-made. That's not anything that God prepared for us. It was man-made. And since it is man-made, and man isn't finding the answer to it, then only God can give us the answer. And I'm also letting you know that there is no, up to this point, there are no allopathic medicines that they have found that are strong enough to combat this plague. And so they are trying their best to come up with vaccines and all kinds of things. And I am advocating that the herbs are there. That's the medicine that God gave to us in times like this. And when the alternative medicine, which is the allopathic drug, is not being used, because the medicine of itself are the plants and the trees and the roots and the flowers and so on. And that was there before these that became the alternative to the original source of medicine that Almighty God gave to us to look after ourselves. And so as soon as you find that you're having these symptoms, if you don't know what to use, then speak to your traditional practitioners who are successful in their villages and start using those drugs. One of the things that we have advocated from our clinic is the use of the noni juice. It has a very high potency of vitamin C, which you are going to need to fight against this particular plague that they're calling the virus. That, along with a diet of fruits and vegetables and no meat, as a beginning of your therapy. But take it seriously. It's not a plague that cannot get to you. We don't know how many of them are here already. We don't know how many infected persons are here. And then we are being told that we must wash our hands. We've been washing our hands for years. We must wash our hands, which means that we are not even allowed to touch ourselves with our own hands now. Brothers and sisters, God has provided the medicines that we have to use, and your traditional medicines, your herbs. In the morning, instead of drinking coffee, you have some fever grass, you have the tulsi, you have the tisam. Those are teas that we need to drink, teas that are full with the vitamin C, vitamin E, and your diet. Cut out your meat and your beef and your chicken and so for a while, and just use fruits, vegetables, grains, porridge, in order to combat. It's a very simple, they are very simple things that I'm telling you, simple remedies. But they are remedies that are natural. And once we have our bodies being nourished with the naturalness of nature, we will help the body to fight and help the immune system to be strong enough to fight for itself. For what happens when you start drinking tablets, a lot of tablets, in order to build your immune system, what happens is that you break down the system to the extent where it doesn't have to fight for itself anymore, because a lot of tablets are doing that for it. Why should I fight when I have soldiers fighting for me? But what I'm telling you about is the diet, along with the medicines that I mentioned and the teas, so that the immune system will be able to fight for itself. And that's the best fight.
Man create his own monster. Weapons of damnation and disaster. No sign at all of human rights. The day has turned into night. Is racialism so? And segregation so? Which way is left to go? I don't know. Hold on. Tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war.
We took a stand and we said, in order for us to really believe in these promises, because these promises have been made before and they have up to now not been fulfilled as they were promised. And so we said at this point in time, we are requesting that the leaders of these parties would verbally let us know out of their sincerity and their hearts that the promises that they are making for us are in the name of God, and that they hope that we will pray to help them to be successful, and that they will pray so that they will be successful in all that they have promised us and all that they intend to do for us. That aspect of the campaign was never at any point in time brought out as a testimony to the believing men and women. And we requested that. And so the situation as it finds itself right now is that when one promises or when one advocates certain things without invoking the presence of the name of God, all that happens after that is confusion. In all things that you do, acknowledge Him. And I'm not talking about you going to church or going to the ashram or going to the masjid. I'm speaking about you who are the person, or who is the person that is vying to become the leader of the nation. So those of us who are believing men and women, we expect to hear the invocation of the one whom we look to and whom we then would know that you are looking to, so that we will look for a successful program. That was not done, brothers and sisters. And as usual, we are now faced with the confusion. The confusion of what we always are against, race and face. That is what it ended up to be, as it usually is. And it is usually that way, brothers and sisters, because God is left out. God is left out. And you will hear 90% of them tell you, religion has nothing to do with politics. But look at what happens when religion is not involved in politics. Look at your country. We have strangers in this country. We have investors in this country, and look at the behavior of those who have left Almighty God out of their promises. You see, brothers and sisters, it's a living God, a God that is alive. It's not a dead God. And if we are going to stand in Parliament and raise our hands, as they do, and swear by the Almighty God to uphold the Constitution of the country, why is it so difficult to raise your hands and promise us all the things that you have promised and that you are promising in the name of Almighty God? So we took a stand and we said we are requesting to hear that. That is our springboard. And I wonder about some of the pastors and the priests and the imams, for they didn't hear it either from the mouths publicly of those who were aspiring to be leaders. So I wonder how they did vote. It would be interesting for me, for us. But we are looking forward, brothers and sisters, to 65 seats that are to be filled. And we are looking forward to having 65 stalwarts that are prepared to listen to what we have to say. For it's the people that have got to have the say, not protesting on the streets and committing crimes in the name of what? Many of them that you see protesting, they protest not because they know anything, but they protest because they just are used to protest. But we are looking for 65 people who are prepared. We're not looking for a party who is prepared. We're looking for 65 people who are prepared to put their heads together and face the challenges that face us so that we will be a successful nation and a more prosperous people. I don't know what many others are looking for, but I'm looking for 65. You see? So it is very important that they know that. For God was not invoked as a testimony to what they are saying and what they are promising is true. And so we have the confusion. But it will work itself out, brothers and sisters. We know that regardless of who they are, we know that there is the only place that we can look to for our survival, for our betterment, for the betterment of our children, for the betterment of our grandchildren, and that is Almighty God. Regardless of what name you would want to put to this God, Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever name, once it's directing us, we know that that is where we have to look for, regardless of who voted where, and who got so much, and who got so many, and who got so less. There is no winner and no loser in this thing. You know, it's very confusing to see people who claim to be educated behaving in ways and manners like that. There are no winners and no losers. It's 65 of you. And we are looking to 65 of you. We're not looking to one set of you. We're looking to 65 of you. And it is very good for you to take note of that. Because, brothers and sisters, you know, in all things that you do, always remember God. And there, in our country right now, we have a typical example. The truth is the truth, brothers and sisters, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Assalamu alaikum.
Negotiations breaking down is a whole big runaround. A lot of talk is what goes on, while the world is left to mourn. Starvation taking toll, weapons out of control. The atmosphere is cold, so cold. Oh Lord, tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he and Terry? He's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war, war. Tell me, what about equal rights and justice? Tell me, what about peace and happiness? Hey! They making new laws every